I don't know you, but I've also been there, and I know myself. I don't know what you like or what makes you angry. I don't know what you do, much less your favorite color. But I think I know one of your unanswered problems. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Well, tell me if all this sounds familiar. You get to your room, it's nighttime, and after doing those little chores you still had to do and refused to do so many others, you wonder, why aren't things the way they should be? The question strikes in the silence of the night, a dull echo mingling with a racing heart that doesn't know when to slow down. Outside, the city sleeps, unaware of the struggle a tired mind is fighting. Why does nothing ever go as we plan? The phrase hurts like a blow, a bitter truth repeated with every fall, with every detour from the imagined path. Life, that flow that was supposed to be easy because that's what you were taught, reveals itself as a dirty, directionless river. Why is life so unpredictable? Doubt weighs heavily, with no clear answer, only the constant feeling of being pushed by invisible forces, by sudden changes that leave your spirits down. You've surely wondered why your life always twists and turns, becomes complicated, and doesn't let you rest. Well, that's the routine. Not the smooth progress toward what you wanted, but an endless line of unexpected problems. Different paths that force you to rethink everything, with an imaginary map that gets erased with each new step you take. In this state, where the brain seems burned out from so much thinking, the way you see things changes. The brain's wires, once quick to carry information, now spark with uncontrolled emotions. What was once a small problem, an annoyance, now feels like an earthquake, an avalanche that threatens to bury any hope. The alarm, that sound that once started the day, is now a threatening scream, the warning of another day of fighting the unexpected. Getting up becomes a real challenge. There are 206 bones and more than 600 muscles, and they have to be raised suddenly, a huge effort to move a heavy body, filled with stored frustrations. Coffee, once a treat, is now just caffeine, a simple substance to try to wake up a saturated body that couldn't quite settle down the night before. The mind, instead of thinking about the day, repeatedly replays yesterday's bad times and imagines tomorrow's problems, in a cycle of anxiety that drains energy. Going out on the street is like fighting a world that seems to be against you. Traffic is a jungle where every honking horn is an attack. Every red light feels like the traffic is deliberately targeting you. Talking to others, which was once normal, is now viewed with distrust, with a constant feeling of having to defend yourself, or at least take care of yourself, waiting for the next stumble, the next complication. At work, the to-do list seems impossible to finish. Every email, every call, every favor asked feels like an exaggerated demand, a new weight on an already bent back. Concentration fades, productivity drops, and the feeling of always having to fix urgent problems becomes normal. Life tells you, you have to put in the effort. And yes, you have to, because if you don't, you'll be left out of the loop, out of the game. The ability to self-exploit is now a highly sought-after value, although it's becoming increasingly devalued. Free time is ruined by this way of seeing things. A movie is paused by worry, a walk in the park is darkened by thoughts of the future, a conversation with a loved one is heard through emotional exhaustion, until night finally arrives like a break, but sleep isn't easy. The mind stays awake, remembering the day's events, imagining tomorrow's, trapped in a whirlwind of annoying ideas. Falling asleep is another fight, a struggle against a brain that doesn't know how to shut down, how to relax. Between substances, needs, activities, decisions, setbacks, problems, situations, favors, to-dos, self-improvement, efficiency, and everything else you know is going on, the battle to sleep is just another one of the days. In this state of constant alertness, the beauty of the world fades. Colors become paler or more jarring, noises louder, tastes more ordinary. The ability to enjoy small things becomes numb, and joy feels distant, almost like a memory from another life. If you think about it for a moment, That's why you need more and more. More caffeine, more wine, more of other things, more of everything. The nervous system is working at its peak, and still we need it to give us experiences, pleasure, more emotions, more of this, more of that, until it blows like a fuse. Think about it for a moment. Do you stop at this point? You know the answer is no. We don't stop. We keep trying to see if everything works as it should now, like it used to, and it doesn't. The feeling of injustice grows. Why does life seem to be going better for others? Why do their plans go smoothly without so many problems? Comparing yourself becomes a slow poison, fueling frustration and anger. Patience runs out quickly. Any small problem can cause an exaggerated reaction, an explosion of emotions that leaves a bitter taste that lingers and a guilt that reminds us of it. Boundaries blur. Irritability becomes a constant companion. In this mental labyrinth, hope weakens. The idea of a better future becomes clouded, replaced by the sad expectation of more of the same. More problems, more detours, more fights. Energy slowly drains away, leaving a feeling of emptiness and resignation. But even in this darkness, in this brain-burned state, there's a small thought that still whispers. A low voice that says that maybe, just maybe, this way of seeing things isn't the only truth. Because if it were, why would others be doing better? Then you think, I'm doing something wrong. Maybe, behind the fog of frustration and exhaustion, there's another way of seeing things. Another way of living with life's unpredictability. Well, I have to tell you, there is one. It's a way that isn't a constant fight that has to be fought, but rather an active acceptance, when acceptance is necessary, and a greater strength to resist, as long as resistance is necessary. It's a path that needs adjustments, a reconnection of mental wires, a conscious process to reignite inner calm. And that, perhaps, is the first step to answering those questions of the night. Not looking for easy answers, but learning to live differently in a world that always surprises. Believe it or not, you do have the answer. They just haven't told you how to find it. They've only told you work on it, or you have to work on it. But from the start, you don't know what it is you have to work on. You only know that you have to do it. And, if you remember, it takes us back to the beginning of this video with another variation. That of worrying about not knowing what it is you have to work on to feel better. This is a reality that many people experience. Maybe it's not you, but maybe it's someone you know. If so, share this video with them. If it's your case, I invite you to reflect. What do I need to do now to hear that voice? Do I have that voice? Where does the story end, or where does it begin to be written? I assure you, the bottom of the barrel can be wide and complicated. You know it, and I know it. This is a brief description of what many people live and keep quiet about. We're just scratching the surface of the problem, and if you want to reflect on it, learn other perspectives, and give yourself a moment for yourself, stay close, because together we all do better, even though the journey is individual.